ich sag jetzt, welche 3 Leute ich tagge, die diese 15 Fragen jetzt quasi, die ich damit beauftrage, diese 15 Fragen zu beantworten. Das ist zum einen Gustav, also GFrom. Also GFrom, wenn du das siehst, Gustav, du bist hiermit getaggt und wenn du diese Fragen nicht beantwortest, dann passiert etwas Schlimmes.
So, fuck, I got tagged. I never thought that would happen to me, but apparently Martin from Tendo TV wants me to talk about 15 horror-related questions. He wants me to answer them, otherwise something bad's gonna happen to me. So I really don't have a choice, do I?
Which was the first game that made you scared?
The first game that made me scared? Well, I have a story about my first recreation of a scene that made someone else scared. And that was when sometime in 93, 94 I played Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and a friend was watching me play this game and I was in stage 3, the aquatic ruins, and I was about to drown, and then you always get this counter like 4, 3, 2, 1, and he was scared shitless. He turned around and hid behind the couch because he couldn't stand the thought of Sonic drowning. It was so scary for him. And that's a really funny memory because this would never happen today. But my first, I really don't know, but one of the first I remember for sure is Tomb Raider, the very first one. When you see the goddamn motherfucking T-Rex for the first time. And I was 7 years old, and this was my first 3D game I ever played, and then you get this big ass fucking dinosaur, and I was so scared I just hid in the first cave you see and I never got out. I just tried to shoot him from there, but it took forever. So that's my first memory of a scary scene.
Have you had a childhood trauma because of a video game?
If I ever had a childhood trauma, I don't remember. If anything, I would say the very first Resident Evil gave me a trauma, but not in the sense of that it scared me, but in the sense of that the controls were complete bullshit. I hated them, and it made me so traumatized that I never touched this game again. My first 3D game, like I said, was Tomb Raider, and shortly after I played Resident Evil, and to me it was just complete crap. Not because it was scary or anything, but because the controls sucked so hard. I know there are a lot of people who really love this game, but god damn it, I hate this game so much.
Which was the most recent horror game that scared you?
Well, first off I have to say I don't play horror games that often. I almost never play horror games. So I played like Dead Space for like 5 minutes or maybe an hour. F.E.A.R 2 I played for 3 hours maybe. And all the big horror games like the Silent Hill games or the Resident Evil games, I never really touched most of these. So I'm not the one to ask which horror game scared me the less. But I did in fact play a horror game this year and I beat it, and it was The Last of Us. And oh boy, that game reminded me of why I don't like horror games. Not because they scare me, but because I find them tedious. But The Last of Us was kind of different because I really liked it, and there was some really fucking scary moments in that game. Not that I just couldn't play or anything, but I felt kind of uncomfortable with it sometimes, and I suppose that's the goal of a horror game. So yeah, The Last of Us.
Do you prefer to play horror games in the dark?
If I prefer to play horror games in the dark, I generally prefer to play horror games in the dark, not so that it's dark, but because I can see the screen better that way. If the sunlight goes in, it's kind of hard to see certain games, especially dark games. So yeah, most of the time I play games in the dark. But yeah, for horror games it kind of sets the mood. But like I said, I don't play them that often, so... But I would say yes.
Do you prefer to play horror games alone or with somebody else?
I definitely prefer to play games in general alone. Because I'm someone who really wants to dig into the atmosphere of the game. And that counts for movies too, because I hate watching movies with more than 3 people. Because everybody keeps talking and you don't really hear everything and miss certain parts, and I really hate that shit. So for horror games or games in general, yes, I prefer to play them alone.
Do you get the Slender-Hype?
Well, the thing with Slender is, I know what it is. I have seen certain videos of it, but I've never played it, and I haven't watched that many videos. I've seen 1 or 2 videos. I just recently saw Conan O'Brien play this game, and he didn't like it. So, but if I get the hype, yeah, why not? If people get the kick out of it and are scared, then go for it. But I haven't bothered to care about it so far.
Have you ever quit a game because it was too scary?
No.
Is the usage of weapons bad for the atmosphere of a game?
Really depends on the game, I think. I mean, it's more scary if you're not like overpowered or anything like that, if you have too many weapons. But on the other hand, like I said, I didn't like Resident Evil for many reasons, and I don't get a kick out of having like 3 bullets for a horde of zombies. It's just not my type of game. But that's the way it is, and it really depends on the game itself. I think for me Resident Evil would be a lot more fun if you had more weapons or more ammo, but I think I'm pretty much alone with that. So yeah, it's a question that I really can't give an answer to.
Which was the first Silent Hill game you played, and which is your favorite?
Silent Hill. Like I said, I haven't played many Silent Hill games. As a matter of fact, I've only played 1 Silent Hill game, and I love it. And it's Silent Hill Shattered Memories, which I got before it was released from my friends from Konami. Thank you again for that. It's 3 years ago, but whatever. And I was blown away by that game. The atmosphere was so creepy. You don't have 1 weapon in this game, and you don't need a weapon in this game. It just makes you feel so alone, and I loved it. Plus, you got the therapy sessions, which change the game depending on which colors you used when you should draw a picture or something like that. It was just a really unique game, and I loved every second of it. And I haven't played it since, unfortunately. I know there are 5 endings to this game, I think. And but now when I look at this game, I really want to play it again for sure. Silent Hill Shattered Memories, great game, highly recommended.
What are you scared of the most in video games?
What scares me the most in video games? Well, like I explained, I don't really get scared per se. I mean, you get some jump scares, I don't know what it's called, if someone just jumps out of the window or something like that, and you're like, whoa! But what makes me really scared? I don't know, not being in control, kinda. There was one scene in The Last of Us, I can't really remember which one it was, but there was one scene where I felt so uncomfortable playing through this part. There were a lot of monsters, and it was dark, and there was some kind of gas, and I really felt kind of helpless. And yeah, I could say that's the closest I can get to get scared. But the scariest thing ever that has to do with video games, I can say, is losing your goddamn save file. I hate that shit. If I play a game, I play it for like 40 hours or something like that, and then I lose the save file, and I don't know why or who did it, and that's some scary shit, man. That's the most awful thing that can happen to you, and I don't want that to happen to me ever again, but I know it will.
On which console have you been the most scared?
That's actually an easy question, because nowadays I don't get scared, but when I was a kid, I got scared from time to time. There are certain movies that I watched as a kid that I have so terrible memories of that I even today don't want to watch them, although I probably wouldn't have anything against them. But so considering that, I would say the PlayStation 1, because that's the one I grew up with. Aside from the Mega Drive, but that one didn't have that many scary games per se. So I go with the PlayStation 1, and there are 3 games in particular that kind of scared the crap out of me back then. And it's Tomb Raider 1, I've already explained that. There's not only the T-Rex, there are these like skinless creatures near the end, and mummies and shit, and they scream like fucking idiots, and then the big ass monster in the last level. Oh, god damn it, I was a child, how could my father let me play this shit? No, I'm really thankful for that. But the second game is, surprise, Tomb Raider 2. That game had such a creepy, dark atmosphere, and it was just so creepy just to move forward and see what's around the next corner, if there's a fucking statue that turns alive or a huge ass dragon or whatever, and the music, and oh, it was so great. And number 3, what a surprise again, Tomb Raider 3. That one isn't so scary, but there's one level in this game near the end called RX Tech Mines or something like that. And before that you had some guys on the South Pole, and in that level they turn into huge zombies, and it's so dark and you don't see them, and suddenly they pop up and I just freaked out. And I played that game a year ago when I tried to record some footage for a review, and I got scared. Totally. Last year I was 21 years old back then, and I got scared as hell from a game from 1998. So definitely the PlayStation 1, just because of the first 3 Tomb Raider games.
Which horror game should get an HD remake?
I had to think a bit about it, but it's kind of obvious to me. I really liked Aliens vs Predator on the PS3. It's the only first-person shooter I've ever beaten in my entire life. So considering that, I asked myself, what's my favorite first-person shooter of all time? And I already answered that in my review of this game. And that's Alien Trilogy for the PlayStation 1. And I still like this game up to this day. For me, it's the perfect first-person shooter, although it's flawed as hell. But you know where I'm coming from. I don't like first-person shooters that much. But the atmosphere in that game is so great, the music is awesome, I like the weapons, I like the enemies, I like that you play kind of through the settings of the first 3 Alien films, which are some of my favorite films of all time. And I really think if you make an HD remake out of that game, without boring ass cutscenes and stuff like that, just remaking the game itself, upgrading the graphics, maybe the music, I would buy this game on day 1, man. And that would be so great.
What was your most shocking moment in a video game?
The most shocking moment in a video game is not from a horror game, and it happened 2 days ago. I recently started playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and there's a moment in this game, I don't want to spoil, so I'm trying to... Yeah, if you play this game you know what I'm talking about. The first mission as Trevor, not the prologue, the first mission as Trevor, he does something in the cutscene, and I couldn't believe it. I was so in shock when I saw this. And then when the cutscene is over, you have to basically do more of it. And I've never felt so uncomfortable playing a video game in my entire life. It made me hate the character. I have played a couple of hours more after that. I don't want to play as Trevor. I hate that guy. Just because of what he did there. And he has done some pretty fucked up stuff after that. And yesterday, right before I quit playing yesterday, he was in another scene where he, minor spoiler, he tortures someone. And it was so awful, and I had to do it. I didn't want to do it, but the game forced me to do it with this awful character. And I felt so bad. And I guess that's what Rockstar is trying to do with the player, to make you feel like shit. But I really don't like it. It didn't ruin the game for me, but it has a bitter taste in my mouth, and that was the most shocking moment that I've ever experienced in a video game, or maybe even a movie.
Which horror game didn't scare you at all?
It didn't scare me at all. I can't give an answer to that. Like I said, I don't play many games, many horror games, The ones that I have played were kind of creepy at times, but to say that I was never scared at all, I mean, if you take a game like, I have it here, like Castlevania, the new generation, or Ghouls and Ghosts, I mean, those are games with a horror setting in them, but they're not scary. So I don't know if you can count those games, but other than that, I don't know how to answer that question, sorry.
Which 3 horror games would you recommend?
If I had 3 horror games to recommend, you know that I don't play many. I've said that like 5, 6, 7, 8 times in this video. But the ones that I would recommend, I've already talked about them. First is Silent Hill Shattered Memories. Play it if you haven't already. The next one is, for old school gamers, Alien Trilogy. Just for the music alone, play this game. It's good. And the third one is kind of a recommendation to myself, because I played it for, like I said, 3 hours or something like that, and I really enjoyed it, but I stopped playing. I don't know why, but I want to continue this game, and that's F.E.A.R 2. And the beginning was really good, and there was some really creepy moments in this game, right from the start. And I have no clue why I do this with many games. I play them, I start playing them, and then I'll never play them again. Even if I like them, I don't know why. But with this one, I kind of regret it, and as soon as I've finished Grand Theft Auto 5, maybe I'll play F.E.A.R 2. So those were the 15 questions asked by YouTube user Rainer Schauder, a German channel, and Martin, please don't kill me. I tried to answer these questions really honest, and I did it, so I'm out. You don't have anything against me. I have proof. This video is proof that I have answered the questions, and yeah, don't fuck with me, dude. So I have to tag 3 people. Do I have to tag 3 or do I have to tag less? I don't know. So I tag, first of all, SNESman16. Yes, I'm talking to you, Patrick. You made my theme song. I like it, and now you have to pay for it. Answer the 15 questions. I have them in the video description. Just copy them and answer them, my friend. You have to. You have no choice. Otherwise, Martin will kill you. The second one is Stefan from HolzklotzProductions. HolzklotzProductions is my German channel, and Stefan is my buddy, so he can come over tomorrow or maybe the day after, and we can film the questions. So, Stefan, get over here, you motherfucker. The third one is a channel that I really like, but hasn't got that many subscribers, so I suggest you go get over there and subscribe to it. It's TheUrbanArcade. It's a long-time Tomb Raider fan, and he tells some really sweet stories. So I would really like to hear him talk about 15 horror-related questions. So anyways, I hope you kind of liked this video, and yeah, maybe I'll get tagged sometime again in the future, I don't know. So I'll see you guys sometime soon. Have a nice day.
Dada!